Yeah, 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 yeah. Right. I don't have an option. I gotta go hard for this. I capture the moment, but I don't let nobody caption this. Nah, I smoke on that loud, that's why I always have to avoid police. I'm not gonna give up until maybe one day I'll die for this. So I want you to know that I left you a part of my soul. That's why I'm making this music, that's why I'm not even afraid to show you that I got flows just like you do. And trust me, I don't expect you to say so.
Welcome to Dreaming Anthems. Today we have an artist who's gonna introduce himself.
Yo, what's up? My name is Thesecond and from Uganda, and I'm glad to be on the show.
Great, it's glad to have you.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. So tell us where you're from, like exactly where you're from, the location.
Well, I was born and raised in Entebbe, Uganda. That's like by the shores of Lake Victoria. So
okay.
like I spent all my early life there from when I was born till when I finished high school.
Okay.
Then I came to Nairobi for university.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've been in Nairobi since you started university?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And how do you find Nairobi so far?
Well, I'm used to it now. It's different from Uganda, but you know,
Yeah.
I'm getting used to it now. So
Great.
I like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who are your music influences?
Okay, so I grew up listening to Michael Lance to rock.
Okay.
Like I don't know if you've heard of them, but I grew up listening to Michael Lance to rock, then Michael Jackson,
okay.
then but the hip hop came in like later, like in 2008.
Okay.
So
Okay.
those were my major influences. Yeah.
So what influences your hip hop? Because the main type of music you do is hip hop, right?
Yeah.
So what influences your genre in music?
Like, okay, so I have a song like on my mixtape. It's called Family. Like it goes like, I started listening to hip hop in 2008. I started listening to Rick Ross and T-Pain and Wayne.
Okay.
So it was basically like the first people I listened to were Rick Ross, T-Pain, Lil Wayne.
Okay.
Then like I jumped onto Eminem, The Game,
Okay.
Jay-Z. So those are like the people I mostly listened to when I was starting.
Those are the people you grew up listening to. Okay. And any local musicians, any local music, any local hip hop?
Well, in UG, there's this guy called Navio. You've heard of Navio?
Navio, I think I've heard of him.
Yeah,
but I've not
he has
heard
a
his
song
music.
with King Kaka.
With King Kaka, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he had a song called Bugumu. Actually, the first song I ever wrote was it was like I was mimicking Bugumu, but I used like my own lyrics.
Okay.
That's how I started like writing lyrics. Yeah.
Okay. So that Navio.
So it was majorly Navio. Then there was M.I. Abaga from Niger.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually my favorite in Africa. Then there was a guy called GNL Zamba. He raps in Uganda.
GNL Zamba.
Yeah, GNL Zamba.
Okay.
Like back when I was still in UG.
Okay.
Yeah, those were my influences like locally.
Locally.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So what would be your dream collaboration now that you have these influences from around the world and from locally? What would you say? Would you say you dream to collaborate with who? Which artist? Exactly.
Like in Africa or
locally? Let's start locally, then go internationally.
So locally, speaking like say in Kenya. So I like Beatty. You know Beatty?
I know Beatty.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of her videos on YouTube.
Yeah, she's
ads.
crazy.
Crazy.
I like Beatty, and I like to work with there's this guy called Rush Unique.
Okay. From Kenya?
Yeah, he's Kenyan, but he grew up in States, but he also lives in Kenya. And I like to work with Octopizzo. I'm actually a big fan of Octopizzo.
So
yeah.
Should I assume that you don't really listen to Calligraph Jones?
No, I listen to Kali, but
You're not
okay.
about the beef. You're about the music.
Yeah, I'm about the music.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Exactly.
Okay. So, who of the contemporaries do you listen to the most? Like,
Like, what do you...
which contemporary music do you listen to the most? Like artists and maybe
Well,
any type of
I
music?
like the Ochungulo family.
Ochongola.
You know the Ochungulo family?
Ochongola family.
Nelly the Goon, there's Benzema, there's Dimore, Bora
I've
Ohai.
heard of
Yeah, those
Benzema.
guys.
I've heard of Benzema,
Yeah,
man. I know.
so I love the music so much, and there's this guy called Fatboy Gouache.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, I also love Fatboy Gouache.
Okay.
Basically, like that type of music. I really like that type of music.
Which album would you say you've grown up listening to the most? There must be a certain album of a certain artist that you kept on repeat. Probably you deleted it a couple of times, but you put it back in your playlist.
Obviously, there's Ready to Die by Big Notorious.
Okay.
I bump that shit like every week.
Okay.
Then there's Reasonable Doubt. That's Jay-Z.
Okay.
Then there's
some OG
music,
shit. Yeah.
Then I also listen to Bastille.
Bastille is awesome.
Like the band, the rock band. That's one of my favorites actually.
Okay. The
as-
guy who sang Pompeii.
Yeah.
Okay.
And well, when it comes like locally, I bump Octopizzo's what was that album that had that TBT song?
Well, I'm not really into Octopizzo music, so I can't tell you which album exactly.
Refugenius, yeah, Refugenius.
Refugenius.
Yeah, I like the Refugenius album, yeah.
That's a really nice twist of the name, by the way. Okay. So how do you stay committed as an artist? How do you stay committed to your art as an artist?
Well, for me, it's like music is a passion. Like it helps me go through stuff. Like I was struggling with depression for a certain time, so I resorted to music to like keep going, you know. Like it helped me get through the depression, and it helps me express myself. So I don't see myself like ever stopping to do music. I'm not even like in a rush to blow up or anything.
Okay.
Because for me, like I really like music from the heart, you know.
Yeah.
So that's what music is to me.
It's really nice. Yeah. It's really nice, man. So it comes very naturally to you.
Yeah, it comes naturally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's your affiliation with BNMG?
Well, BNMG stands for Black Nation Music Group.
Okay.
Black without a K, BLSE, and it's like I founded BNMG.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
With a friend of mine that's in Uganda right now, and well, it's been BNMG like since 2011. So now it's like 8 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some time.
So I'm an independent artist.
Okay.
Like I'm not like in a rush to sign with anyone at the moment, because I'm signed to myself.
All right.
So that's what BNMG is.
Okay. So BNMG has a couple of other artists in it.
Well, for now we have there's another guy called Paul Kabanga, but he's in UG.
Okay.
So we haven't really gotten to like put him out like that, but I've worked on a few songs with him, and probably this year you'll get to hear some of the music I've made with him. Yeah.
Okay. So how do you balance your life outside music and your life in music? Or how do you balance basically the rest of your life with music, now that music is such a big part of your life?
Well, okay, thing is with me, like it's not like I have two different personalities. I just be myself like throughout, like whether I'm doing music, whether you meet me like on a personal level, I don't really act like Thesecond and then act like Alinda Peter. I'm just Thesecond, say full time. Because you know, like the way the name Thesecond came about is my real name is Alinda Peter Jr. So that makes me Alinda Peter the Second.
Like on your ID?
Yeah, like birth certificate, Alinda Peter Jr.
Okay.
So that makes me Alinda Peter the Second. Hence the name Thesecond.
Great.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense, man.
Yeah.
So now that you say music is a part of you and a part of your daily life, Do you give a certain period of time on a daily basis, on your music solely? Maybe sit down and write some music, maybe listen to some music, or
Well,
do you just incorporate it in everything you do?
well, music is like part of my everyday life in a way that
Mm.
even if I'm not writing like on a daily basis,
Yeah.
I'll be listening to other music, like to get like inspiration, motivation, like. But I can write like at any time. Sometimes it doesn't even have to be like on an instrumental. I could just be there, like maybe having lunch or something, and then I just start singing. A certain word just comes to my head,
Okay.
and then like I get my phone and I write something down. So it's
Okay.
just it just flows like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. So what inspired your Half Empty track?
Half empty.
Half
Let me
Empty,
see.
man. Cause
Half empty. Actually,
yeah, it's a bomb, man.
yeah. Thanks, man.
Uh-huh.
I hadn't been to studio in like 2 months.
Okay.
So I went to the studio after 2 months, and then Lemario, my producer, played me the beat for half empty. That's why I started like every beat, Lemario, play for me, I wanna take it. Haven't been to studio in a minute, but I'm here. So like most of my songs, like when I listen to a beat, like I tend to like fixate on a certain, like it could be like a certain instrument, like a guitar or like just a sound or a sample, and it helps me like come up with a melody.
Okay.
So that's how like I came about with Half Empty, and we did it like within 1 hour.
Really? Within just
Like
1 hour?
most of my songs usually take like 30 minutes to 1 hour at
Okay.
most
Okay.
to complete.
So Feel Good, Yours Truly
Hmm.
is the title of your mixtape, right?
Yeah.
But it feels like an album. What inspired the body of work?
Well, Feel Good Just Truly is it's like me telling the people. It's a personal project. So it's
Okay.
like me telling the people in my life to feel good, and it's from yours truly.
Okay.
That's why these songs like Amapera, these songs like Family, these
Okay.
songs like Bangamba, all those are like basically like the people I grew up with
Yeah.
relate with those songs.
Okay.
So what inspired the mixtape was basically what I went through, like with the people I grew up with, people that encouraged me to do music.
Your life
Yeah.
experiences with them.
And what I experienced ever since I got to Nairobi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. 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 So it's an album from your time since you came to Nairobi.
Yeah, because I hadn't really made music like since I came to Nairobi, which was 2015, and then I started making music in early 2018.
Okay.
Yeah, so Feel Good Just Truly took about, I say, like 2 to 3 months to create when I was in Nairobi.
Okay.
And well, after that, like I plan on dropping an album, but later this year.
Okay.
So
Later this year.
that was a mixtape to like get myself back like into the music, introduce myself back into the music.
Okay. Okay. So later this year we can expect an album from
Yeah, either
Alinda.
later this year or early next year. It will depend.
Okay.
We'll see how the music goes.
Okay. So how was the writing process of the mixtape, or basically the process of putting everything together and coming up with a mixtape?
So the thing with me is once I'm in the studio,
Okay.
like it's easy for me to come up with a song.
Yeah.
Like if I spend say like 6 hours in the studio, I could come up with roughly like 4 songs. So it doesn't really take long for me to come up with a song. You play me a bit, if I'm feeling it, I just start writing. Like what I do, like I usually zone out. Like if you find me in the studio, I don't even want to talk to anyone. I just want to listen to the song and I write, then record. So it took me okay, finishing the whole album took me, I'd say, a month, writing like every song.
1 month.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then like putting together, like having to select which songs, because I had like over 50 songs.
Oh, really?
But then like having to select like which song to put on the mixtape, and like mixing and mastering, all of that, it takes a while. So
takes a while.
that's why I'd say by September I was through with the mixtape.
Oh.
But then I dropped it in December.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you said it takes a month to write.
Like for that mixtape, it took me about a month.
Oh, it took you a month for that mixtape.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But then like to write a song, it usually takes me like 30 minutes at most, or 1 hour. It depends. But it doesn't take me long.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hear many artists talking about the writing process needs you to be in a place where you're in some kind of serenity and peace?
You know, everyone is different. Like for me, it's like you see,
Yeah.
even right now, like after having this conversation,
Yeah.
to me this is like content now. Like I'm getting content. Like I could go back and like I play a beat and then I just start writing about like today and everything.
Okay.
So for me, it doesn't really matter where I'm at. I feed off like other people's energy. Like we could be in a studio and someone just pops up in the studio
Yeah.
and say they have a hook or something, and I'll just start writing, feeding off of their energy. Or I could even just be like chilling, watching a movie,
Yeah.
and then someone says like a certain line in a movie, and then it just hits me, and I start writing lyrics just like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're a very observative person. Huh? You'd
Well,
say you're observative.
Yeah, I'd say it's more like a talent. You know, like for most people I've worked with, like they have, it's a skill.
Yeah. It's a
Like
skill they
you know,
develop.
like yeah, you can develop rap as a skill.
Okay.
But for me, I think it's more like a talent because I can just write at any moment. I've seen like people struggle with writer's block, but I don't really get writer's block because for me it just comes naturally. I don't mean to brag, but that's what it is.
If it's a fact, it's a fact, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what inspires your musical journey? You just told us that you went through some hard times, depression. That's part of your inspiration. But
Yeah.
what keeps you going? What keeps you going? That probably was your start.
Yeah.
Or your beginning of let's say the influence that started your interest in music. But why did you choose music as a way of venting out your feelings?
Well, you see, like since I was a kid, like I've always been around music. Like when I was a kid, my mom used to tell me stories, and she used to sing to me in the stories. There was always like a song in a certain story.
Oh, okay.
So like that's how I picked up melodies. I fell in love with melodies. And then like I used to look up to my father a lot, like in a way that I used to want to be around him all the time.
Okay.
And like I used to listen to whatever he listened to. That's why I told you I used to listen to Michael and Stu because he used to listen to them. Introduced me to Michael Jackson. So like music has always been like, it started as a hobby, but it's always been like so special to me.
Okay.
So I don't see myself ever like giving up on music. It's just like one of those things, you know, you can't live without. Like water is life. For me, music is life. So that's what it is.
It's awesome. It's awesome. Man.
Yeah.
How does it feel to work with Lemario?
Well, I have to say, shout out to Lemario. Lemario is very talented and humble at the same time. Lemario is like we have a good working relationship.
Okay.
Like Lemario, I should say, is very different from like most producers that I've worked with, in a way that, you know, he doesn't even like interfere with your creative process.
Okay.
He'll play you something,
Yeah.
and he'll if he has to, he'll excuse you, let you like write what you're writing,
Okay.
and then he comes back and he records you and you do your thing. So I really enjoy working with him.
Okay.
Shout out to him.
Okay. So you told us you have something we have to look forward to this year, like,
Yeah, like
a project
I'm
from
actually
you.
I'm working on an album right now, and I dropped Joanna.
Joanna.
Joanna is one of the songs on the album,
Yeah, beautiful
and
song.
it should probably drop like by the end of this year or early next year.
Okay.
Yeah, so right now I've so far written like I think about 7 songs of the album.
Okay.
And I've recorded like two songs so far, but I think by next month I should be dropping another song of the album.
So where do you see yourself in a year with BNMG?
Well, I want to grow BNMG as a brand, and I want to put it out there more. I have a partner in Uganda that's really helping me with that, and probably in a year we'll have dropped something with the BNMG artist that I told you about.
Okay. Yeah.
And yeah, probably attract like more artists under BNMG. But for now, I'm really concentrating on myself as the main guy under BNMG.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So how does it feel to have worked with Groove? We'd love to host her one day, hopefully.
Groove is she's a really nice, hardworking person and very talented, like very different. her vocals are very different. Like if you just listen to her sound, you know, you just okay. For me,
Yeah.
when I listened to her for the first time, I fell in love with her sound.
Okay.
Unfortunately, like we happened to meet in the studio that same day, and she found me writing a hook for Bangamba.
Okay.
So she jumped on Bangamba, and shout out to Groove for that. And I really look forward to working with her on more music because she's really talented.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, in your creative process, you include a lot of Baganda words.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us how you think they, make your sound
Okay,
unique.
so back in high school when I was rapping, I was in a band, and we had two rappers in the band.
Okay.
One was rapping in English, and I was also rapping in English alone, just
Okay.
English without mixing any other language.
Okay.
But this guy was like way ahead of me in terms of like flow, because he had like this accent thing going on with his rap style.
Like English accent.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like I wanted to be different from him. So what I did, I started mixing English with Luganda, which he could not do. So that made me different from him in a way
Okay.
that I started getting more attention first of all, and it just made me feel like more unique and
Okay. That
like,
was a smart move. That was a
represent
smart
like where I'm from, you know,
Yeah.
from the 256. And since Luganda is the main language in UG, I decided to go with it, keep going with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's part of the African sound. So where do you think the African sound is headed towards? Because it's becoming international, right?
Yeah, for sure. And shout out to everyone that raps in Banak. Mbidi, I listen to Mbidi.
Okay.
He mixes his language, I think it's Kamba with English.
Okay.
He's one of my favorites. Shout out to Raj. He mixes his local language with English.
Okay.
So I like the rappers that mix the local languages with the English, like Sarkodie also,
Sarkodie,
who mixes his Banak with English. So I think it really represents us as like where we're from and as Africans.
As a people of
yeah.
Africa, clearly. True. So what's your biggest challenge so far? Since you started your music interests and
you know, like working as an independent artist is very hard. First of all, like I have to use my own income to invest in myself, studio time, videos, because there's no one else that's going to do that for me. So I have to do everything on my own. Like I have to get from my own pocket. That's why I edit my own videos. I do my own, like I pay for my own studio time. So it's one of the challenges is that because first of all I'm a student, I don't have a job. So now like money is one of the challenges. You know?
Okay.
But it doesn't stop me from chasing my dreams, you know, because I really love music.
Yeah.
So I do it nonetheless.
I'm sure that's a big inspiration to other artists out there. So how can people watching this right now reach out to you?
Well, at Thesecond 256, like everywhere. That's Instagram, Twitter, SoundCloud, YouTube.
Okay.
And on Facebook, you just search Thesecond, you'll find me.
Okay.
So basically, even if you Google at Thesecond 256, you'll find all my handles there. Yeah.
And Alinda Thesecond, it's been great to have you on the show.
Man.
Thanks for coming.
So,
Thank you very much. You're an awesome inspiration.
thanks, man.
Yeah, great to have you on the show.
For sure, man.
Thanks for watching.
All right, cheers.
I fell in love, her name is music. I like the love, I hate the bullshit.